Welcome back to Math Concepts. In this video we are going to continue our discussion of logic, and we are going to look at a special kind of statement called a conditional statement. Now in those statements you have the form kind of if something then something else, if P then Q. And those kind of statements are very important in forming arguments, which we will actually look at later. So we will focus on the mechanics of dealing with conditional statements. Let's go to the document camera and look at some examples. Okay, so when you are finished with this video, you should be able to look at a conditional statement and identify something called the antecedent and the consequent, and you should be able to determine when a conditional statement is true or false. So let's look at this antecedent and consequent business. Okay, so here's a conditional statement. If I study for at least 6 hours, then I will get an A on the test. Here's the antecedent. I study for at least 6 hours. The consequence is I will get an A on the test. Okay, so the antecedent is like the conditional part. If this happens, then here are the consequences. Okay, so the consequent is the then part. Let's look at another example. If I get the job, then I will buy a new car. Antecedent, I get the job. Okay, so that sets the scenario. If I get the job, if this happens, then something else will happen. I will buy a new car. Okay, let's look at one more. I don't want you to get the idea that the antecedent always comes first, because sometimes we can say these things in slightly different ways. I will buy a TV if they are on sale. The antecedent here is they are on sale. Okay, this is the kind of conditional part. And the consequence is, if this is happening, then I will buy a TV. Okay, so remember, the antecedent is by the if part of the statement, and the consequent is what happens when that antecedent is true. Okay, so now that we've looked at those, let's talk about the truth values of a conditional statement. Now, a conditional statement is a special type of compound statement. So you need two statements in order to make a conditional statement. You need the antecedent and you need the consequent. Okay, we actually discussed this in an earlier video, but these are the truth values of a conditional statement based on the truth values of the component parts. All right, so let's imagine the statement is, if you clean your room, then you get ice cream. Okay, well, if we're in this row of the truth table, you clean your room, you get ice cream, so everything is great. In this row of the truth table, you cleaned your room, but you didn't get ice cream. That means the person saying that initial statement told you a lie. They said, if you clean your room, then you get ice cream. you cleaned your room, no ice cream, so that person was lying. Down here, I like to say that the statement was untested. Here you didn't clean your room, so you can't really say whether I was lying or not. My statement only applies when you do clean your room. Okay, so a conditional statement is only false when the antecedent is true but the consequent is false. Okay, that's the only time a conditional statement is false. Okay, so let's look at a few things, a few examples. If June has 30 days, then today is Monday. That's true. The consequent is false. When I produced this video, it was Wednesday. Okay, so June does have 30 days. If you remember the old rhyme, 30 days have September, April, June, and November. June has 30 days. Today is Monday. Okay, that's false. So the conditional statement is false. That puts us in this row of the truth table. Antecedent is true, consequent false, so the statement is false. If pigs can fly, then I am a millionaire. That's false. That's false, so the conditional statement is true. Okay, up here, right? If both the antecedent and consequent are false, that is one of those situations where the statement is what I was calling untested. So it's true. You can't tell me it's false because pigs can't fly. Okay, so the conditional statement is true in that case. So if you are asked whether a conditional statement is true or false, what you need to do is look at each of the parts. Look at their truth values. And remember, the only time a conditional statement is false is when the antecedent is true, but the consequent is false. In all other cases, your conditional statement is true.